Sarah Thompson endured brutal treatment from Drill Sergeant Martinez during basic training. He called her weak, gave her extra punishment and tried to make her quit. She never complained or mentioned her family. Then Martinez discovered the shocking truth: her father was the war hero who once saved his life. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The morning sun was just starting to rise over Fort Bradley Military Base when Drill Sergeant Martinez kicked open the door to the recruit barracks. His heavy boots made loud sounds on the floor as he walked between the rows of bunk beds. Get up right now, he shouted at the top of his voice. This is not a hotel. This is the United States Army. Move your lazy bodies. 30 young people jumped out of their beds. They were all new recruits just starting their basic training. Among them was Sarah Thompson, a 19-year-old girl with short brown hair and strong arms. She moved quickly to make her bed just like the others. Drill Sergeant Martinez was a big man with thick muscles and several scars on his arms from his time in war. He had been training new soldiers for 15 years. He was known for being very tough and making recruits work harder than they thought they could. You have exactly 5 minutes to get dressed and be outside, Martinez yelled. Anyone who is late will do 100 push-ups. Sarah pulled on her green military uniform as fast as she could. She had been at the base for only 3 days, but she already knew that Drill Sergeant Martinez did not like her. He seemed to pick on her more than the other recruits. Outside in the cold morning air, all 30 recruits stood in straight lines. Martinez walked back and forth in front of them, looking at each person carefully. When he came to Sarah, he stopped. "Thompson," he shouted, even though he was standing right next to her. "What do you think this is? Summer camp?" "No, sir," Sarah replied, looking straight ahead. "I can't hear you," Martinez yelled. "No, sir," Sarah shouted louder. "That's better. But your uniform is still wrong. Drop and give me 20 push-ups." Sarah got down on the ground and started doing push-ups. The other recruits watched, but they knew better than to say anything. This had happened many times before. For some reason, Drill Sergeant Martinez always found something wrong with Sarah. "Faster," Martinez shouted. "My grandmother can do push-ups faster than that." Sarah finished her 20 push-ups and stood back up. Her face was red, but she did not complain. "Now we run," Martinez announced to everyone. 5 miles around the base. Anyone who stops running will start over from the beginning. The group started running. Sarah kept up with the others, even though her arms were tired from the push-ups. But Martinez ran next to her, making it harder. "Come on, Thompson. Is this too hard for you?" he said. "Maybe you should go home to your mommy. The army is no place for weak little girls." Sarah did not answer. She just kept running. She had wanted to join the army since she was a little girl. She was not going to quit now. During the 5-mile run, 3 recruits fell behind. Martinez made them start over. But Sarah finished with the main group, even though she was breathing hard. "Not bad," Martinez said to the group. "But Thompson, you were breathing like an old horse. 50 more push-ups after breakfast." At breakfast, Sarah sat with her roommate, Jessica, and 2 other recruits named Mike and David. "Why does he hate you so much?" Jessica asked quietly. "I don't know," Sarah said. "But I'm not going to let him make me quit." "He's trying to break you," Mike said. "I've heard that some drill sergeants do this. They pick one person and make their life terrible until they leave." "But why?" David asked. "Maybe he thinks girls shouldn't be soldiers," Jessica suggested. Sarah ate her breakfast quickly. She knew she had to do 50 more push-ups, and then they had weapons training. It was going to be another long day. After breakfast, Sarah did her 50 push-ups while the other recruits watched. Some of them felt sorry for her, but they were afraid to say anything. They did not want Martinez to start picking on them too. The morning training was about learning to take apart and clean their rifles. Sarah had practiced this before joining the army, so she was pretty good at it. But when Martinez checked her work, he found problems. "This is terrible, Thompson," he yelled. "A dirty weapon will get you killed in battle. Do it again." Sarah took her rifle apart and cleaned it again. This time Martinez found different problems. "Still wrong. Do it again," he shouted. Sarah cleaned her rifle 5 times before Martinez finally said it was acceptable. By then, the other recruits had already moved on to the next training exercise. The days went on like this for 3 weeks. Every morning, Martinez would find something wrong with Sarah's uniform, her bed, or her equipment. She had to do extra push-ups, extra cleaning, and extra training. He made her carry heavy bags during long marches. He gave her the worst jobs like cleaning the bathrooms and washing dishes. Women don't belong in combat, Martinez told her one day. You're taking up space that a real soldier could use. Why don't you save everyone time and just quit now? But Sarah never quit. She never complained. She never cried even when she was alone at night. She just worked harder and tried to be a better soldier. The other recruits started to respect her. They saw how much she suffered, but she never gave up. Some of them even tried to help her when Martinez wasn't looking. You're tougher than most of the guys here, Mike told her one evening. Thanks, Sarah said. But I don't want to be tough just for a girl. I want to be a good soldier. One rainy Wednesday morning, Martinez announced a special training exercise. They were going to practice combat situations in the woods around the base. It would last for 3 days and 2 nights. This is not a game, Martinez told them. You will carry everything you need on your backs. You will sleep on the ground. You will eat only what you bring. And if you can't keep up, you will fail basic training. The recruits packed their backpacks with food, water, sleeping bags, and equipment. Each pack weighed about 50 pounds. But Martinez gave Sarah an extra 20 pounds of equipment to carry. Thompson, you get to carry the radio equipment too, he said with a mean smile. Let's see if you're really as strong as you pretend to be. Sarah's backpack now weighed 70 pounds, but she picked it up without complaining. They marched into the woods as the rain started to fall harder. The path was muddy and slippery. Several recruits fell down, but they all kept going. After 2 hours of marching, they reached their first training area. Martinez divided them into 2 teams for a practice battle using fake bullets. Sarah's team had to attack a pretend enemy base. Thompson, Martinez called. You go first. Let's see what you can do. Sarah crawled through the mud toward the enemy base. The fake bullets made loud popping sounds as they flew over her head. She moved carefully from tree to tree, getting closer to the target. But Martinez was not satisfied. Too slow, Thompson. A real enemy would have killed you already. Do it again. Sarah went back to the starting point and tried again. And again. Martinez made her repeat the exercise 6 times, until she was covered in mud and very tired. When night came, the recruits set up their small tents and tried to get some rest. But Martinez woke Sarah up every 2 hours to do guard duty. By morning, she had only slept for about 2 hours total. The second day was even harder. They had to cross a cold river, climb over tall obstacles, and march 15 more miles. Sarah's heavy backpack made everything more difficult, but she never asked for help. That evening, as the recruits were eating their dinner around a small fire, Martinez continued to pick on Sarah. Look at her, he said loudly so everyone could hear. She thinks she's a hero. But when real fighting starts, she'll be the first one to run home crying. Sarah looked up from her food. For the first time in 3 weeks, she spoke back to him. With respect, sir, you don't know anything about me, she said quietly. Martinez's face turned red with anger. What did you say to me? I said you don't know me, sir. You think I'm weak because I'm a woman. But you haven't given me a fair chance to prove myself. The other recruits held their breath. No one had ever talked back to Martinez like this before. A fair chance. Martinez laughed in a mean way. You want a fair chance? Fine. Tomorrow morning you'll get your chance. We have one more exercise. It's called the final test. You'll have to complete an obstacle course while carrying a wounded soldier. If you fail, you're out of the army. If you succeed. He paused. Well, let's just see if you can succeed first. That night, Sarah barely slept at all. She knew that tomorrow would decide her future in the army. The next morning, Martinez led the group to a large obstacle course. It had high walls to climb, ropes to swing across, heavy logs to carry, and a long muddy area to crawl through. Thompson, Martinez announced, you will carry recruit Johnson through this entire course. Johnson was one of the biggest recruits, weighing about 200 pounds. This isn't fair, Jessica whispered to Mike. Johnson weighs almost twice as much as Sarah. But Sarah was already helping Johnson onto her back. She took a deep breath and started toward the first obstacle. The first part was a 10-foot wall. Sarah had to climb over it while carrying Johnson. Her arms shook with the effort, but she made it to the top and carefully lowered herself down the other side. The second obstacle was a rope that stretched across a muddy pit. Sarah had to swing across while holding onto Johnson. Halfway across, her hands started to slip. She thought she was going to fall. But she held on and made it to the other side. The third obstacle was the hardest. She had to crawl under a net through 50 yards of thick mud, while carrying Johnson on her back. The mud was cold and deep. Several times, Sarah's face went completely under the mud and she couldn't breathe. But she kept crawling. Martinez ran alongside her, shouting, "Give up, Thompson. This is impossible. You're embarrassing yourself. But Sarah didn't give up. Her whole body hurt. Her lungs burned. Her muscles felt like they were on fire. But she kept moving forward, one crawl at a time. Finally, after what felt like hours but was really only 20 minutes, Sarah reached the end of the course. She had completed the final test. She collapsed on the ground, breathing hard. Johnson rolled off her back and he was amazed too. "I can't believe you did that," Johnson said. "That was incredible." The other recruits cheered for Sarah. Even Martinez looked surprised. But he was not ready to admit that she had impressed him. "Not bad, Thompson," he said. "But don't think this changes anything. You still have a lot to prove." Just then, a black military car drove up to the training area. A tall officer in a perfect uniform got out. It was Colonel Wilson, the base commander. Everyone stood at attention. "Drill Sergeant Martinez," Colonel Wilson said, "I need to speak with you privately." Martinez and the colonel walked away from the recruits. They talked for several minutes looking at some papers. Sarah could see Martinez's face changing as the colonel spoke to him. When they came back, Martinez looked very different. His face was pale and he seemed nervous. "Thompson," Colonel Wilson said, "I need to ask you something. Is your father Colonel James Thompson?" Sarah hesitated. She had never told anyone at the base about her father. She wanted to succeed on her own, not because of her family name. "Yes, sir," she finally said. "He is." Colonel Wilson nodded. "I thought so. You look just like him." Martinez stared at Sarah with wide eyes. "Colonel James Thompson?" he repeated. "The Medal of Honor winner? The hero of Afghanistan?" "Yes," Colonel Wilson said. "He saved 30 soldiers when his base was attacked. He fought off enemy forces for 6 hours, even after he was shot 3 times. He's one of the greatest soldiers this country has ever produced." Martinez looked like he had seen a ghost. Colonel James Thompson was his personal hero. Martinez had a picture of him on his desk. He had read every book and article about Thompson's brave actions in Afghanistan. "Why didn't you tell me?" Martinez asked Sarah. "Because I didn't want special treatment," Sarah replied. "I wanted to earn my place here like everyone else." Martinez was quiet for a long moment. He looked at Sarah differently now. All this time, he had been trying to break the daughter of the man he admired most in the world. "Thompson." "Sarah?" he said, and his voice was much softer than usual. "I owe you an apology." "No, sir," Sarah said. "You were doing your job. You were trying to make me stronger." "No," Martinez said. "I was wrong. I was treating you badly because you're a woman. I thought you didn't belong here. But you've shown more courage and determination than most soldiers I've trained." He paused and looked at all the recruits. "You see, your father and I served together in Afghanistan. He saved my life during that battle. When our base was attacked, I was pinned down by enemy fire. I was wounded and couldn't move. Your father ran through bullets and explosions to pull me to safety. He carried me just like you carried Johnson today." Sarah's eyes filled with tears, but she tried not to cry. "Your father is the bravest man I've ever known," Martinez continued. "And now I see that courage runs in your family. You have the same spirit he does. You never give up, no matter how hard things get." Martinez straightened up and looked directly at Sarah. "From now on, you'll be treated like every other recruit here. No extra punishment, no unfair treatment. You've earned your place in this army." The other recruits smiled and some of them clapped quietly. "But," Martinez added with a small smile, "I won't go easy on any of you. This is still basic training and you all still have a lot to learn." That evening, as the recruits were packing up to return to base, Martinez approached Sarah one more time. "Thompson," he said, "I want you to know something. Even if you weren't Colonel Thompson's daughter, you would have earned my respect today. What you did on that obstacle course was amazing. You have the heart of a true soldier." "Thank you, sir," Sarah said. "And Thompson," Martinez added, "next time you write to your father, tell him that Sergeant Martinez says hello. Tell him I'm taking good care of his daughter." Sarah smiled. "I will, sir." As they drove back to the base, Sarah felt different. She had proven herself not just to Martinez but to herself. She belonged here. She was going to be a good soldier just like her father. Jessica sat next to her in the truck. "Why didn't you ever tell us about your dad?" she asked. "Because I wanted to make it on my own," Sarah explained. "I didn't want people to think I only got here because of my family name." "Well," Mike said from across the truck, "you definitely proved you belong here. What you did today was incredible." "We all did well today," Sarah said. "We're all going to be good soldiers." When they got back to the base, Sarah called her father on the phone. "Dad," she said, I met someone who knows you. Drill Sergeant Martinez. He says hello. Her father was quiet for a moment. Martinez? Is he taking care of you? Yes, Sarah said. It was hard at first, but he's a good teacher. He's helping me become a strong soldier. I'm proud of you, her father said. I always knew you had the courage to succeed. I get it from you, Dad. No, her father said. You had it all along. I just showed you how to use it. The next morning, Martinez treated Sarah the same as all the other recruits. He was still tough, but he was fair. And when Sarah made mistakes, he corrected her the same way he corrected everyone else. 3 months later, Sarah graduated from basic training. She finished in the top 5 of her class. At the graduation ceremony, her father came to watch her receive her soldier's badge. Martinez shook hands with Colonel Thompson. You have an amazing daughter, sir, he said. She's going to be a great soldier. I know, her father replied. But she earned it herself. I'm just proud to be her father. As Sarah stood with her fellow soldiers, wearing her new uniform, she felt proud of what she had accomplished. She had faced her biggest challenge and come through stronger than before. She looked over at Martinez, who gave her a small nod of respect. She nodded back. They both knew that she had earned her place in the army through hard work, determination, and courage. Sarah Thompson was ready to serve her country, carrying on the family tradition of honor, courage, and service. And she had done it all on her own terms, proving that being a soldier had nothing to do with being a man or woman, and everything to do with having the heart of a warrior.